Hello, darlings. Bunny Galore here, the queen of the cult movies. I'm live here at WynterCon 2015. And I'm here in the chair. Oh, I'm so excited. The chair from Game of Thrones. And these wonderful people are here as well. Now, Somalia, I'd like to ask a few questions. How long did it take to make the chair?
Well, we didn't actually make the chairs. The lady here from Wales who's done that. It's the only chair that's actually been approved by HBO in the UK. This is a fabulous job she's done. We're here to stage it. We've built the set behind and all the steps and everything to it so that it looks its best.
To frame it, like you are so beautifully with me at the moment. You're framing me so beautifully. But that's very true, because obviously with branding you have to be very careful, and especially with an ongoing series like this, which is current at the moment, you have to be very careful. But I have to say, congratulations! It looks amazing, and you've been very busy. How's the reaction been to the chair?
Fantastic! It's like we're making dreams come true. Yeah, no, it's been absolutely brilliant. People have been great fun. And I think that's what we find with all of our sets. People feel awkward just standing next to something, having their photo. The minute they're interactive, they're mucking about with weapons and cloaks, and then they're absolutely on it. No, it's great.
I'm here with a living legend, the one and only Emily Booth. Hello, Emily.
Thank you, Bunny. It's so nice to meet you finally.
It's actually absolutely an honour and a privilege to meet you, to say the least, and you're looking gorgeous, I have to say.
Wow.
There's so much to talk about. It's so lovely to finally meet you. And I've been following your career for a long time. You've done many, many things. How did you get involved with horror and film to start with? Is it a passion? And it became a job?
Yeah, definitely a passion that became a job. I did get lucky, but I mean, the first job was a very strange film called Perverella. Say no
I'll be
more.
Googling that later on. Don't worry.
Perverella, which is a kind of play on Barbarella,
Yes.
And I played the title role, the titular role in that. But I was still at university when I did that.
Really?
Yeah, I just met this crazy bunch of people who were like stuck in a 60s time warp, and they were making this film called Perverella, and I did that, and then I did Cradle of Fear, after that,
Yes,
with the same director.
Yes, yeah.
So you know what this industry's like. One thing leads on to another, but yeah, it's taken a while.
So going from being an actress that obviously had a huge knowledge of film and cult film, how did the presenting side come into it?
The presenting side of it came, I did Perverella, and then, I don't know if you guys remember live TV.
My first ever job, can I just say?
My
first ever job was on live TV. As in like that sort of thing. Stand up. For some reason I thought this was a good idea to do stand-up comedy on live TV. The tape exists. No one will ever see it because it's possibly the worst. But it was fun. I love live TV.
I loved live TV. I did a show called, basically they got me in for an interview about Perverella, and they had this thing called the sex show. Yes. So I went in as a guest, and then, because, I don't know, I got on so well with everyone. I was only about 20, and I was really, I just threw myself at the industry, really. And they said, would you like to audition for a presenting job? And I was like,
yes, please.
Yes, that would be really nice, thank you. So I did. So it started off as an interview, and then I got this show called Blue Review, which was
I must have seen it.
Pornos. I was reviewing pornos, but they were very, very, very tame.
Like this, because it 90s, I presume, isn't it? So it's quite soft, to use a phrase.
Very soft.
So out there, was that a clip show? Or was that a review show?
Yeah, just clips. That was a clip show. So after live TV, I did Bits on Channel 4, which was about computer games. So it was a different area for me. I did that for 2 years on Channel 4, and then I did Out There. They got in touch with me, and that was just a crazy, crazy show where there was just a big medley of murderous kung fu, horror, sex, and general weirdness from around the world.
But that's what I think late night TV should be about.
I know.
And in my head,
I know,
that's what it should be about.
And you know what I love? I tell you what, the one thing I'm proud of, I think, is that I mean just about part of the whole 90s scene in TV. I mean just. I got in there, I was working in 1999 on things. I did things like The Word, and I did Banzai, even that was a bit late. I did Eurotrash once.
Oh, I'm so jealous. That's one of my favourite shows.
And I think in those sort of early noughties, late 90s era, TV was different. It was very irreverent. It was off the wall. It was fun. It was bad taste. It was spunky, basically. It was really spunky and a bit.
It's when all the rules started to be broken, but in a good way.
But it was that late night pub student culture was big then. It seems to have gone.
I know. I was.
Just brought back TFI Friday, haven't they?
Yes, they just have. I think it's still there, but it's not on a regular. I think not a regular time anymore.
Yeah, and I think obviously then we didn't really have so much entertainment online, did we? Yeah. So now it's probably all on YouTube.
I think all that is still there because I think a lot of both our fan bases, all 4 million of yours and about 3.5 of mine, is by that I mean 3.5 people. Is that sort of, and I think it's because it's what we like. Yeah. That's why.
Yeah.
So after that, and obviously you've done a lot of movies as well. And I've seen The Reverend. I've seen it with Mr. Shane Ritchie.
Yeah, we like Shane.
Dame Shane Ritchie. And you've done a lot of films.
Yeah, I've done, I think, obviously in the UK it's a slightly different scene to America. In America, the Scream Queens, they might do 4 a year, whereas I'll do like 1 every 4 years. Or 1 every, something like that. I did, there was Purple Weather, then Cradle of Fear, then Evil Aliens, and then I did some other weird ones like Fallen Angels. Then what happened? Doghouse, The Reverend, Doghouse with Danny Dyer and Noel Clarke and Stephen Graham.
I love Doghouse. I think it's great. Mary Tam, the lovely Mary Tam, the Doctor Who girl. I thought it was great for the cast alone. I loved it.
Yeah, thank you. No, it was good. And I've just done another zombie comedy called Shed of the Dead. Just come off the set.
Shed of the Dead. That has to be the best title I think I've ever. And also your own project as well, isn't it?
I did. Yes, this is me getting all
Selkie,
serious.
isn't it? Yes.
Yes, Selkie, which I.
Selkie, sorry.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, that's. I love that you wrote that. Did you produce it or direct?
Yeah, produced.
You see that?
I did everything really. But my brother directed it.
Oh right. Okay.
So it's me and my bro.
Well, that's just. I think you have to keep your brand going, and you have to keep. And be creative as well. Yeah,
I just wanted to. I just thought I am actually surrounded by people with their own skill set. Like I know musicians, I know sound people, I know camera people, and edit people. And I just thought, why? I do what you do. I interview people at conventions and festivals. And so many of them had just said, we just decided to get up off our asses and make a short film. And I was, for ages, I was thinking, why don't I do that? I could try that. So I did.
I think short films are more achievable. It's still hard.
Yeah.
It's still hard, but short films are much more achievable. And I think in that short amount of storytelling, you can do something quite powerful, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well. So when did the Horror Channel come along? Because you've been the face of the Horror Channel now for a while.
I've been lucky. I started that in 2007. But when did they begin? A few years before then. Yeah. So I've been there for a while now, and it's good. Yeah, they've had loads of different. They've sort of morphed into different things, and the Horror Channel's just got bigger and bigger because they've just gone to Freeview. Yes. And they're getting really good titles now, like proper Hostel, Human Centipede, the Saw movies, as well as some of the weird stuff like we have Cronenberg season and Donnie Darko and. Yeah, all the Reanimator stuff. So we've got stuff for the fans and then stuff for the mainstream fans.
I love Horror Bites. I loved it when you were introducing the Doctor Who's when they first started as well. Yeah. That was so cute. I
think I was about 8 months pregnant when I was doing that, but anyway.
Oh, I did wonder why it was all like very much shoulder and above.
They just shot me from there.
That was both beautifully done. Oh, so final question. What is your perfect Halloween? Do you spend it with your family? Do you go out and party?
Tonight I'm going to go out and party with you, Bunny, because you're hosting, aren't you?
I am, yes. I don't know what's going to happen.
Perfect Halloween. I think you have to dress up and you have to have a really good Halloween movie and really get in the mood and get really high on chocolate.
I'm here with the legend herself, the First Lady of Fantasy, Miss Caroline Munro. Hello, Caroline.
Hello there. Lovely to see you. You look so beautiful.
Oh, that means a lot coming from you. I think you've been my yard mast, is that right? Or the epitome of glamour all my life, I have to say. Obviously, you were about 3 when I first saw you.
Of course.
Now, I think you've been in so many of my favourite films and TV shows, but how did it all start for you?
It started, I didn't want to do it, something I didn't plan. I wanted to do art. I wanted to go to art school. I was starting to do a bit in Brighton. I got seen by a chap who was studying photography there, and he said, can I take a few photographs? We took the photographs, and he sent them to David Bailey, the photographer, who was having a competition. So, and then it won the competition, and I became the face of the year 100 years ago.
I guess just a couple of summers ago now. I actually, you'll have to remind me, where did Hammer came before Bond?
Hammer was in early 70s via
AD. It's 72 AD, isn't it? Yeah. I was watching it the other day. It's so good. I love it. I absolutely love it. It is quite camp. I was quite devastated that you leave the film quite early, but in a memorable way. And I think particularly, I grew up with this image. I have to say, I'm just going to quick here of a blooded Caroline Munro there. It's funny how sometimes just an image can be more iconic sometimes, isn't it? So we'll talk about that first. How was Mr. Lee, and how was the whole experience?
First of all, he was one of the most extraordinary actors I've had the pleasure to work with. He bit my neck so beautifully, I must say. But I'm sad. I'm so sad he's not with us anymore, because he was an extraordinary Dracula and a wonderful actor. So it completely changed my whole thinking about acting. You know, I'd kind of been wandering before through it, and I'd done quite a lot of work, but until that little bit in that film came, it clicked in that I actually believed what I was doing when I was acting, and he was very much instrumental in that for me. So, yeah.
I think with Christopher Lee, I think particularly he has a so mesmeric on camera. He's the master of, or one of the masters of the close-up, and sort of probably in real life it doesn't look like you're doing anything, but on camera it shows every little thing. So yes, I can imagine that.
Captain Cronus was a Hammer film, so that was directly after AD, and then I did in between AD. I did something called Sinbad, Golden Voyage of Sinbad.
Of course, yes.
I slipped into that via Brian Clements, having directed Captain Cronus, and he wrote the screenplay. So he suggested me for the role, and they said, no, we want Raquel Welch, we want a big name. And he said, no, I think she's the right person.
Oh, well, you were gorgeous in that. Who needs Raquel Welch? I do love Raquel. She's amazing. But you're amazing in that film. It's one of those things. I think you somehow epitomized the high glamour, and yet being the girl next door as well. I don't know how you managed to do that. I think it possibly the cleavage perhaps helps, but but you certainly had that sort of attainable quality. I think that's what's so lovely about all those characters.
Thank you. I like that. I think obviously you have to bring most of yourself to whichever character you play, and then yourself, and then you find kind of what works with that. But I think, I don't know, to me, I've never had any training, no formal training but not everybody does, and I don't think you have to, certainly for film, as long as you feel it.
Yeah, exactly. I think you have to be quite instinctual, I think. Stage is different because you've got to have the technique so you can project your voice. Doesn't give you talent, but you can teach technique. You can't teach talent. That's the difference, I think. Really. So when Bond came a knocking, which obviously by that point, with Roger Moore, it's been going for a good 20 years by that point, 25 years. How excited were you about that? Was it a brand you really want to be associated with?
Do you know what? I never, when I think of my career or being involved with a Bond, I never even thought about it. I mean, I didn't think, oh yes, this is what I want to do. If something came and I liked the idea of it, then I would, I think I would do it. But with Bond, yes, it happened. They saw the Lamb's Navy Rum posters, Cubby Broccoli, and he'd seen quite a bit of my work apparently, and he thought he kind of more or less offered it to me, the role. At the same time, I was very nice, very unexpected. and I was offered the role of Ursa in Superman, which went to the amazing Sarah Douglas, who was astounding in that.
I mean, she's amazing in that. I love those cheekbones are to die for. I have to say, I would love to see you do it. Now you've said it, I never knew that. Yeah. I'd have loved to have seen that, but she is beautiful in that. I was going to ask you about. I've always wanted to ask you this. I have to say, is the Doctor Who movie that never happened in the 80s? Was it Coast to Coast? The company, wasn't it? What? Just. Oh, I see. Okay, I was going to say, how did that happen?
Well, he was part of that. There was in fact, the chap, Coast to Coast, the lady was sitting here with me, her husband, who's wandered off, was part of Coast to Coast. John Humphreys. He did all the special effects and everything.
I think they did start shooting some stuff, didn't they?
I think they did. They were kind of doing, pre-production maybe. They had the scripts, they had a few scripts, and then sadly it didn't come to be. No, it didn't. I think people were slightly underhand, shall I say, naming no names.
I think it was at a time when the show was, because it was going off the BBC, I think it was all very up in the air about the rights and things.
Yeah, and they didn't know which way it was going to go or how they were going to do it. But the boys had written, or had script writers in, they'd written a really good script. They had Leonard Nimoy to direct it, which would have been amazing. But sadly, it wasn't to be. The timing wasn't right. And now look at it. It's come back. Wow.
Oh, yeah. But who would have ever thought that? I mean, if we were talking about this earlier on, that after the Paul McGann movie, which was great, you never thought it was going to come back after that. No, that's it. It's going. Big Finish is doing a wonderful job. It's never going to come back to that. And obviously, a good question: would you ever go back to Doctor Who now?
If I was asked, I would love to have a little tiny bit, but I did the Amiga with Peter Davison.
Big Finish, you did one of those. Yes, you did. I meant to ask you about these actually, because this is a DVD of. Cheeky little thing there. And this is clips and interviews.
All sorts of bits and pieces, and I think it's got the music videos. It's got the Adamant and the Meatloaf. I did Adamant Goody Two Shoes.
Oh my goodness, yes, of course. No, I do, yes. I was a huge Adamant. That's how I discovered Donna Dawes, is through Prince Charming. Yeah, Prince Charming.
Yes, of course. Exactly. Yeah.
And I love this. This is a beautiful cover.
That's brand new.
Is this a new, is this...
you know who did the cover? Oh, do look at her artwork. Veronica Carlson.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Yes, it's how we actually met a few years ago, didn't we, with... the press launch of Hammer Glamour, which was a bit. Veronica's there, and Ingrid Pitt, and yourself, and I think I was in heaven all day long. I'm here with the gorgeous and divine Virginia. Hey, hello, Virginia.
Hello, you beautiful creature. I could bite your cheeks. You're so gorgeous.
That means a lot coming from you, because you look incredible.
Oh, thank you.
Well done. You've done so many incredible projects, and you've done and so many continents as well.
I know.
It was just so exciting.
I haven't stopped.
So let's go back to the beginning.
Yes.
So it all started with the modelling.
Yes.
And so how did the TV work come from modelling?
Well, it's so funny because I was picked up on the street when I was at art school, and by this lady. She was a fashion editor for a top magazine at the time, and she got me into modelling. And then I was approached again for acting. So it's amazing that I just found myself in the right place at the right time, and that does happen. It's so rare.
You have to be ready for it, I think.
Well, I just coincidentally was ready. I was young, and so I think when you're young, you're up for exploration. But once I started modelling, I was lucky enough to have the kind of face way back when that was very commercial. Right. And so I did a lot of spray and wipe commercials and loo paper and bread and baking and fashion and all sorts of things, and did something like 57 television commercials. When you do a lot of commercials, you get to know the casting people. Yes. And in Australia, it's a small community of casting people. So they're the same people that cast for film, television, and commercials. So they saw that I was doing a lot, and they said, one of them said, I think it's about time you got into movies. Would you like to audition for a movie? And I said, no! I'm terrified of it. I don't know anything about the craft. Little did I realize that I was already acting.
Yeah.
But just at the time, I was very young and silly. I had no idea. I just thought that it was some magical craft that you had to study for and that had nothing to do with what I was doing. But she convinced me after about a year, this lady called Mitch, bless her heart, and she offered me the role of Mad Max.
From there, you stayed in Australia for the time being, and you did some very famous shows. One of my favourites, Prisoner Cell Blockade, and Neighbours and Home and Away. But Prisoner was quite a long run, wasn't it, for you?
Yeah, it was it was 6 months.
6
so
months,
not
not more than a couple of episodes.
Yeah,
It was a long. I remember you doing it. Actually, I do remember you doing it. A very glamorous Prisoner, I have to say, even without a shred of makeup and still looking like a glamazon.
I know, and I think I may even have a photo. Oh my God, are you ready?
Okay. Oh.
How glamorous is that?
cute.
Look at the hair, look at the lips, look at the eye makeup.
Beautiful.
And people always say, you had fake cheekbones, they're not yours. And I go, oh really?
No,
And that was a million thousand years ago.
Stunning stuff.
Look at the hair.
I love
It's a bit
that's
like
amazing.
yours,
It's just a little
darling.
bit. It's a little bit.
Look,
Always needs a bit of root lift.
look at the
I wish I looked like that. I don't look like that. Thank you. You're very kind.
80s glamour look going. Oh,
And-
bless.
oh, very kind.
And I love the bosoms.
Yes,
Ooh, they're a bit hard.
they are a little bit. It's a bit cold in here.
Okay.
I forgot one of the most important things, of course, is the Bond film, which how
Yes.
amazing is that? But actually, Bond
Got that in
probably
London.
that would have come before Farscape, well, I suppose. 'Cause
Yes.
that's 90s going in.
Yeah, Bond was late 80s.
Yes.
Mad Max was late 90s. No, I beg your pardon. No, Farscape. Yeah, Farscape was late 90s.
Even though, obviously, because most jobs, I think I found with talking to a lot of people that sometimes you don't realise how iconic things will become in later years because there's no way of knowing these things.
No way
Like
of knowing.
doing the first Star Wars movie, no one knew what it was going to be like. But with Bond, you're coming into that knowing it's a certain
Yes.
level of thing. Were you excited about doing that?
Oh yeah, of course, because going into the biggest franchise, the biggest brand on the planet in film and television, there is nothing bigger than Bond. Oh, I could do an ad. There is nothing bigger than Bond. No, but really, and so being a Bond girl, there's not very many Bond girls in the world.
No.
And being one of them is, everyone in the Bond family feels honoured. We all do, seriously. It's such and you're treated so beautifully, and they're so lovely, and the scripts are so wonderful, and of course the Bonds themselves are charming and debonair, and it's just an amazing franchise to step into. As an actress, it's really thrilling.
And it's so glamorous, and it's so
glamorous.
and it's just, I think it always shows people off at the height of their abilities.
At the height of their beauty, or everyone. And the premiere for Living Daylights was spectacular. I've never attended it. It was black tie, royalty, long gowns. Nowadays, a lot of the premieres are like that, but back then they had already gone through the 60s, which is, hey, let's go bohemian. And the 70s was more rock chic, but they were getting back to glamour in the 80s. So this was back to the old days, old school, fabulous 50s glamour, where everyone arrived in limousines with long gowns, and it's glamour-orama being in a Bond film. But then when it ends, it's so shocking because suddenly that life doesn't exist anymore. And you go back to, going down to Sainsbury's in your pajama pants and your pimple makeup.
I don't think you could ever not be glamorous. I find it very hard.
I think you could be wrong.
Well, you've proved it because in Farscape you were playing a character. Well, it wasn't mask work, it wasn't prosthetics, but you were very heavily made up. Obviously, you can still see your features, which is the most important thing, I think. And I've always wanted to ask about the ball cap. I presume you didn't shave your hair, did you? Did you have it a lot shorter then?
Yeah, no, I had to shave my hair because.
You did?
Yeah,
I
no.
I thought that's a really good ball cap. So I know a lot about
An
makeup.
interesting question for you because you understand about hairdressing.
I thought it was really. I thought that was
and style
seamless. I went like, wow, that's really good line.
Yeah, no, it had to be a ball cap. If I was an extra, and I was only on there, non-featured for maybe a few weeks. Or if I was a guest actor on there for a couple of days, sure, they put a ball cap on me. But I was there for years. And you understand the makeup process. When you put a ball cap on someone, the second they turn their head, it crinkles. Yeah, and then they have to say cut and run in and tape it down and pull it back.
And just time for you. Because if you're being sprayed and sort of made up every day, it cuts the time.
Another hour probably. Yeah, but we didn't even think of that. But that's very true. It would. But also, when the makeup artist convinced me to go bald, she's very clever. She knew exactly how to get around me. She said, "You can have a ball cap if you like. It's going to be extra time for us. It's going to be slower, and it'll create mayhem. But we can do it for you. However." My hair was this long. We'll have to cut your hair quite short, and we'll have to shave around the hairline so that you will end up with a 3-inch tuft of hair in the middle of your head, like a friar tuck in reverse, right? And
that's a clever makeup artist that do that.
Yeah, and everything else will be shaved because of the ball cap being glued on, taken off, glued on, taken off, glued on, and any hair that would be coming through would be immediately plucked out. And you'd probably lose your hair from having it plucked, like over-plucked eyebrows. Yes. So she convinced me that way, little devil.
Yes. Now, Virginia, one of the best things I think you've done is be so proactive and embrace so many different things. And you have your new company, of course, the White Flower Lay. Yes. That's very good. Tell me about that.
Well, I hand make soaps and perfumes. I used to do candles as well. And when I was in America and I decided to retire for a time, I had to do something creative because I'm such an intensely creative person. And I love everything girly and fragrancy. And so I developed a natural range of soaps, natural perfumes, all vegan and now wax melts. And it's called White Flower Lay. And I love it. I hand make soaps and bring to each convention appearances. And they're really popular. People buy it. They snap them up like hotcakes.
Well, I think that's what it's really, because you wouldn't ever have that, would you? And it's so personal.
No. So it really worked out well. When there was that period of time, that 10 years, when I was just waiting for the industry to kind of catch up with me, it was a wonderful time to experiment with all of that. And now I get to do both. I've got a film next year called Dark Ascension. I'm in a show now called Cosmos.
Yes, I meant to ask you with Terry Molly. Yes, I meant to ask you about that. I completely forgot.
Terry.
I know.
They asked me who I wanted as my husband. I said, Terry Malloy. I love Terry. He was supposed to be here.
I know.
Actually, yeah.
He's a big hero of mine. A huge Doctor Who fan. So I think I love his Davros. I think he's amazing.
But you know what? I do a lot of conventions now, appearances, and I'm so lucky. I get invited all over the world, non-stop. And it's after every month, I think these are going to stop any minute now, but they don't. I still keep getting invitations, so I'm the luckiest girl in the world to be doing everything that I love, making the soaps, doing conventions, talking to fans, and acting again, which is great.
I'm here with Pam Rose. Hello, Pam.
Hi, how are you?
I'm very well. Are you enjoying this old thing? It's fine as long as you don't stand in front of a green screen, then you're in trouble. Are you enjoying WynterCon so far?
I am, and I'm glad to be asked back again because we met last year.
Yes, and right. It's lovely to see you.
Thank you.
Well, I've been fingering your CV, and I have to say, well, I'm after a few years you get quite good at these things. I have to say, you literally appeared in every favourite show I think I have, from Space 1999, the New Avengers, Clash of the Titans, the movie, Space 1999, Star Maidens, which I have on DVD, which I didn't watch. Which I never watched. Well, I just love.
Star Maidens. I'm the one in the pink.
Amazing. I didn't watch it when I was a kid, but I've discovered it on DVD, like you do sometimes. You find it and you go, "Why did I never know of this show before? It's genius." You've literally Victoria.
That was
oh
great.
my word! You've literally. How did it all start? How did you get involved in film and TV?
I trained to be a chef.
Really?
Yes. And when I left college, having qualified, I became a model. And I used to dance on Ready, Steady, Go.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, and I met every pop star in the 60s that you could ever probably want to meet. And then I started working in a casino because the money was regular and
I've done it myself.
quite good money as well in those days. And we came to Brighton to live, and they started Oh What a Lovely War.
Oh, yes, of course, yes.
In 1968. And I used to work the first 2 weeks of the film. I did 14 days on the film and 12 nights in the casino. They used to get on the seafront in a deck chair and they go, Pam, walk up and down. And I left the casino and worked on the film for 3 months. Yeah.
It's so strange that some things just can happen. I mean, it might be the time, at that time, maybe things were easier to sort of...
Very versatile. You know, I could stand in, I could double, I could do the crowd work or the background work. And then I moved back to London, worked on the Battle of Britain, Looking Glass War, and like some of the most iconic people you ever, like Trevor Howard and all those sort of people.
Mr. Anthony Hopkins as well, in this beautiful photograph here. It's some, actually, every photograph on this table is stunning. Oh, wow, what was that film on? Oh, the Hammer Horror series, was that? Or that's a...
Bloodbath at the House of Death, I think. Oh, was it? I think it came out as Madhouse.
Yes.
Because a lot of these films, when they were made, they're made under a different name, and when it was released, it changes the name, so then you sometimes get a bit lost.
Now, I need to ask you about Star Wars. Isn't it strange? Now, I've been to, I won't name the gentleman's comedic actor's name, but I was at someone's one-man show lately where he was talking about they were shooting next door to Star Wars, and no one seemed to really think it was going to be a big success, and they were shooting it because you wouldn't. No, and it was like an unknown American director and things like that. How did that happen?
Even if you're in the cantina, you don't do all the sequences. I didn't see Guido's shot. I didn't see the arm cut off or anything like that, because that would be a different day with special effects and all that sort of things. So you had no clue, which is the same with most films. You do a little tiny cameo and then you're gone. And all you're worried about is working on the next film. I ran a casino for 20 years, took redundancy, then I joined my agency, and she phoned me up one day and she said, I have fan mail for you. I said, what are you talking about? She went, there's all these geeks looking for you. And then I did the odd show, but this year I think I've got 31. And I've had to cancel some because I've just moved to be your neighbour.
Oh, we'll come around for a cup of tea, definitely. Hello, darlings. Well, I'm here with Kit Cox. I've said that very carefully. A rather legendary writer and a very smartly dressed gentleman. Hi, Kit.
Hi, Bunny.
So, well, this is all very new to me. Tell me about your novels. These look incredible.
Thank you very much. They're all set in an alternate history. So our actual history still exists. So the First World War is in there, but this goes all the way back to the 1800s. And what I've added is monsters. Cool. So all the monsters of Victorian literature actually are real now. And they all exist throughout it. And we have monster hunters such as Major Jack, which is...
I was going to say, he looks amazing. So this is Major Jack. That's an incredible costume. And who built the costume for you?
I did.
You did? Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that's how bored I can get at home. I've got my own action man.
That's the best thing of it. Just any burglars obviously be terrified if you come from that. And I love it. Jabberwocky is one of my favourite poems, actually. So when did it all start?
So it all started about 5 years ago. I was in the army and I was a deprogrammer. So I was making soldiers civilians again, which is quite a hard job. And I had to write these reports up about the horrible stuff they were going through. So to kind of bring myself down from that, I started writing stuff where there was a soldier as the main character, but he was going to be the good guy. So like he would be able to fight the monsters rather than being traumatized by them.
I always think I find writing very hard. I find it like homework, but I've never written a novel. It's like with scripts and things. But I do find it quite cathartic.
Right, yeah.
But you also have to be, I think, in the right headspace.
Yeah.
Otherwise, the voices aren't very loud. And I need the voices need to be quite loud for me to write. Did it help you at all? Did it bring things out?
Yeah, I mean, I thought I was writing quite a favourable character, but it's quite funny, since leaving the army and going more into the writing, my new character is a young boy that's like ends up fighting monsters, and he's a little bit more sympathetic, so the audience sort of like can mesh with him more, because I realised going back and reading the Jack Union stuff, because I was in such a dark place with the army, that sort of like, although I had lightened Jack up a little bit, he was still a lot darker than a lot of people are used to. So he's more of an anti-hero. He's been compared by a lot of people to Judge Dredd, in that kind of, he's a man.
That's always been a popular thing, I think. I think there's a whole subgenre of people that really identify with that, and the darker the better sometimes. Not too dark, but because how do you keep the balance between being a hero and a villain?
See, that's the difficult thing. So, like in the book that's just come out, the one that's been released this weekend, Smoke and Mirrors, Jack has got quite a major part in that, and he does almost a speech that says that he is the villain. And I think it's knowing when someone knows that they're the villain. That's what keeps them the hero. It's like Doctor Who saying, so like, am I a good man? It's as long as the character knows that they're potentially the bad guy, they can be the good guy, because they're not acting on it all the time, and they can pull themselves back from that brink.
So, Kit, tell us where to go to for all the information about yourself.
Well, you can go to www.kitcox.com, and all the books are there. The horror movies that I've starred in are there. So yeah, so it's all in one place.
Hi, I'm Cyber Schizoid, and I'm at WynterCon in Eastbourne, and I'm here to talk about my magazine, Space Monsters. This is the most recent issue. There is actually an issue due out tomorrow. We just missed the printers, which is really annoying. But anyway, this one's still available. It's number 7. It's all about Star Wars, classic Star Wars, and a preview of the new film. You can buy these from Amazon. So if you go to amazon.co.uk, just look up Space Monsters magazine, and you'll see lots of special offers. But I'll show you some of the pages. It's not just Star Wars. There are other, oh, here we go, Moonraker, Star Wars influenced films, I guess you would say. We've also got a regular column by Hammer and Bond star Caroline Munro, who everyone loves.
Well, we're a gift from Gertie, and it's a Sussex-based taxidermy enterprise, if anything. I'm Max, this is Jodie, lovely Jodie. We started this really as a hobby, and it's grown into a bit more than that, and now we're offering our sort of more creative take on taxidermy, where we come at it from the sort of art background rather than the more scientific background. So we've got strange things.
Eyeballs.
Our next project is a pig zeppelin, which is going to be a zeppelin-shaped thing with an undercarriage, but with the skin of a pig wrapped around it, suspended in the air, and that's going to be amazing. Find us on Instagram at Instagram/giftfromgertie. You can follow us on Facebook as giftfromgertie.friends and become one of our friends. We have an Etsy shop, obviously Etsy/shop/giftfromgertie, and follow us on Twitter, and we're everywhere basically. Yes, find us and follow us.
Hi, Gemma.
Hi, Bunny.
So tell me about the shop.
Well, we opened about 10 weeks ago, and we deal with... We're brand new. Yeah, we've tried to get open for about 2 years, finally managed it. We were supposed to be here last year, unfortunately we couldn't. So we deal with all fantasy, comic and sci-fi merchandise and memorabilia, and lots of gaming, so Magic the Gathering, Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, that sort of thing. We run a lot of gaming days and just have lots of fun, really.
That's awesome, and it's here in Eastbourne?
It is, yeah, in Grove Road.
Yeah. And what's the name of the shop?
It's Fantasy and Comic Emporium.
Oh, that's a very posh.
I know, well, it spells out face, and that's kind of a running joke. Yes.
I like that face. It makes much feature, isn't it? And so, have you enjoyed WynterCon so far?
I am loving it so far. It's been fun, and I've spent far too much money.
Well, darlings, I've had a fantastic Halloween here at WynterCon 2015. I've just ordered an Uber. I think it should be quite cool. So until next time, darlings, from me, Miss Bunny Galore, the queen of the cult movies, bye-bye.